Is that recording? Actually recording? Make sure that thing keeps blinking. Don't blink it. Even if we don't go there to fish that tree up, you'll play them.
I'm so glad I'm going to do this.
What?
You guys, I haven't been to the beach in like several years. Yeah, she hasn't gone in a long time. Yeah. But Sand Lake doesn't count. Yeah, Sand Lake doesn't count. Yeah.
I just wanted to talk about why I want to, or like why I enjoy singing it. So the chorus, well actually the whole song, is about how we kind of hide from God, or we try to stay away from God, and He pursues us. And I go to Bible college, and one of the things that we talked about in one of our classes recently was the whole diagram when you give people the cross and the big pit. I'm sure most of you have seen it before. How we're over here, and there's a big chasm, and God's over here. Our sin is what separates us from God. And Christ builds the cross in the middle, which acts as a bridge. You guys seen that before?
just real quick, we'll run over some announcements and give you guys a chance to stand up and find out who's here this morning. Say hello to one another. If you grab your bulletins real quick, we do have some visitors. I should introduce myself. I'm Aaron, the lead pastor here at Lents Gilbert. And not much longer in this capacity as far as sharing the services. Hopefully, your vote next week will bring some fresh new faces here so that I'm not jumping up and doing everything on Sunday. A welcome change of us. So, gentlemen, let me just say, as I welcome everybody here, that this is the best chance we'll have for the next year to take over. Because at least 10 of our ladies are up at Camp White Branch doing the ladies retreat thing, and so nobody sees them. Okay, that was it. That was your chance. If you wanted to make a revolt and do something, that was fast. So next year, when it comes around, be ready for it. When the ladies go up, that's our chance to stand up and take charge. If you're visiting with us, just real quick, our bulletin will pretty well keep you up to speed on what's going on here in our church. One thing I want to point out to you is a little zip script that's on the end. Ask you guys to take a few minutes and make this your offering to us. Just give us as much information as you'd like to share as you feel comfortable. A name and address or phone number or email address if you'd like us to respond and just say thank you for you guys being here. But please don't worry about opening wallets and purses if you're visiting with us. We want you guys to stay for your time with us. The rest of you guys know what to do with that. Updates for prayer and different things. Please use that. It really helps us a lot to keep things updated. So please keep doing that. You guys will notice there's a lot more information in the bulletin this week. Took some of the summer stuff out and made room for what's coming up. And there's a lot coming up right now. So just real quick, Sunday Parkways. You guys know we've been talking about this the last Sunday of September. We'll be down at Bloomington Park. And we changed this a little bit. We had our ministry council this last Wednesday and decided instead of hot dogs, because there are folks actually trying to sell hot dogs down the block, rather than give our hot dogs away and steal, their customers, we would concentrate on this water and I think some granola bars or something real easy. So some hot dogs this year. If you're banging on hot dogs, bring a couple bucks and go buy from our friends down the park there, and that'll work out. Daybreak Shelter. Same week, starts next Sunday, and so some of you went back. Thank you so much for signing up. We are starting to fill up the Daybreak sign-up sheet. It's back on the bulletin, both board there. So go back, sign up. We still need a few hosts and overnight hosts and dinner hosts and things like that. So if you find time, go back and sign up and help us with that. And we'll start next Sunday. So just be ready for that. Faith in Action is one of the annual things that comes around and always sneaks up on us a little quicker than we expect it to. And so on the 14th, just remember we'll be downstairs. At, I think it says 10 o'clock. We'll have some devotions together, and then we'll split up into teams. Some of us will go out and hang some invitations to the trunk or treat and pick up trash and do that in the neighborhood. Some others will go across to the nursing home and just love on those folks, hang out with them for an hour or so. Some will be here making lunch and spreading bark dust along the back fence there. And so just be ready for that and think about what you might do to help us out, which team you'd like to be on, and we'll talk more about it as we get a little closer to it. Trunk or treat, the end of October. That'll sneak up on us quicker than we think it will. So candy, if you guys would like to bring candy if you see it on sale, that'd be great. I want to say something about the fence. Rogan. The fence that was provided for by an anonymous donor. That was an expensive fence, folks, and so somebody supplied the wood for that. We supplied the labor, so thank you for everybody that helped us put the fence up. It looks great. Now we've made a shiny, clean spot. We got to finish this fence. We'll get to that. Somebody painted our parking lot with the new stripes in. Is this looking great? Yes. And our neighbor loves us. Yes. We're popular again on this corner, so it was well worth it. But thank you so much for those behind the scenes and those who are out front building that fence. We appreciate that so much. Some of you, especially going to your last week, are probably wondering what this little flyer is all about. Let me just say real quick, we're going to bring Mickey and Alex up in a few minutes, and they're going to share with you their vision for the ministries that we're asking them to consider joining us for in the next few weeks. We have a vote next Sunday as a congregation on them. But here's what's happening. If you were here last week, I'm in the Coast Guard Reserve. And the Coast Guard, 2 days after our vacation back in August, called me and said, next week we're going to focus on the ministry to youth and children again next week. And so this theme will play itself out for another couple of weeks. Let's see. I'm sure I'm not missing something. If you have any questions about all that I just shared, just come and talk to me. If you haven't heard all this before, then I probably made more questions than I answered, so just come and talk to me about that. The Blakemans, you guys, if you haven't noticed, on the table right outside the church office, we have these little flyers from the Blakemans. They're on their way to Uganda, if you haven't heard that bit of news already. And so these will be updated each month. A new flyer will come out. We'll print these and have them there for you to pick up and read what's happening. And we'll highlight that in our announcements. And we've decided at our ministry council, we decided to put them on our mission budget. And so 10% of our mission budget will go each month to help support these guys. We'll remind you each month that if you would like to personally support them, you can, and we'll show you how to do that. And so we'll keep them in the front of us here so we remember that they're out there serving us, serving the Lord in Uganda, in Africa, okay? Just, let's see, two more things. On your prayer bulletin, somebody, or the insert here, I think it was my daughter, asked me, where it says Ada long-term care, it's a typo there. It's not, she said, it looks like it was supposed to be cancer or something. What is that supposed to say? I said, no, it's care, it's just a typo. If anybody else is alarmed by that, it's all right, it's just long-term care for Ada. She's in a facility, and if you'd like to go by and see her, come and see me after the service and let you know where she is, okay? Last thing, as you guys came in, you might have noticed the slideshow that's playing. Floyd's Memorial Service. If you missed it on Friday.
I'll go.
We're going to play that at the end of the service.
Yeah.
We just wanted to open the service. He was such a special man. We opened the service with him. We're going to close the service at the end of the service. For those of you who can and want to stick around, we'll put a minute break or something there, and we'll start that again. If you didn't get to see it Friday, just stick around and we'll play it for you again. All right. We don't usually have that many announcements, but I want to make sure you guys are up to speed on what's going on. So stand with me. Let's pray. Let you guys say hello to each other and get back to our service. Father, thank you for today. I want to pray for the ladies that are not here with us throughout the Camp White Ranch. This weekend long retreat, just be with them safely as they come home. And pray God, I guess in retrospect here, it was a refreshing time for them. And for us that are here today. I think what Mickey shared with us, and the walls that we put up, the walls that are just up, whether we did it or not, that make it sometimes very challenging for us, God, to focus on you. All the worries of this last week or next week or beyond. And I just want to pray, God, and ask you to help us set those things aside and trust you that we can give you this hour and just focus on you, focus on the words we're singing or listening to, and focus on your message and just hear your voice, God, and what we do today. So join us and bless us, God. Fill us with your vision for this church, for this community. And Father, hear from us as we seek you. Ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, take a few minutes to say hello. few scriptures here. I'm going to bring these guys up, and I'm going to share a little bit. Proverbs 20 and 20, verse 29, and then 1 Samuel 17. Let me just start here with Proverbs. Proverbs 20, verse 29. The glory of young men is their strength, and the honor of old men is their gray hair. So let me just wait for this picture to load up here. Someone that's on the bulletin. Bit of a translation, I guess, of what that might mean. The glory of young men is the ability to get that high on a motorcycle and somehow dream of getting back on it, I guess, if you come on. The glory of old men would be the wisdom to not do that, or at least, I guess, the statement place, I'm not sure. But we're all about our youth this morning and our children, and not just as ministries, but youth in the form of leadership. And so we're going to talk about bringing these guys on staff. We have plenty of gray hair here. I won't presume that necessarily means we have all kinds of wisdom, but we do have experience. And we do have some wisdom here. And these guys are going to offer their strength, their creativity, and all the freshness and vitality that youth brings, their enthusiasm. And I want to ask you guys to consider now, even before we vote next week, to have these guys' backs. Because the truth is, sometimes in our youth, and you guys were there, you remember, if you'll crack your minds back and remember some of the things that you did like this, sometimes you do get a little disconnected from what your vision was and what your hopes were and what you intended. And you need somebody with the gray hairs and the experience and the wisdom to help you get back on that bike. And so our part in this as a congregation is going to be to have these guys back, to stand with them, and to applaud the courage it takes to even try that. I'm not going to ask you guys to do that, but you know, the guys that do give us that kind of a show, we're going to applaud that as well. To talk about his vision for worship ministry. So I'm just going to let him start, and he can begin to share, and then when he's done, question time. We'll let you guys ask some questions, and I'll just kind of get off to the side here to jump in if I need to. Any questions for me?
Okay. So, I thought it would be best to kind of split this little talk into two parts. So the first is going to be about what I think worship is, and that will apply to church because if I'm going to be leading worship, then what I think worship is kind of important. So that'll be the first part. The second part will be how it actually will play out here and how it'll apply to everyone. But I wanted to start with a definition of worship, because that's important too. So, one of the best definitions that I've found that I resonate with most is that worship is a gift of participating through the Spirit in the Son's kingdom of the Father. It is the gift of participating through the Spirit in the Son's communion with the Father. So it includes Father, Son, and Spirit. Another, like, a little more in-depth explanation is Trinitarian worship begins with the eternal community of the Father, Son, and Spirit, which calls the church into worship as participation in the divine life. This then results in a horizontal community of worship. Worship is not merely the church, eyes towards heaven, entering into the life of God, but it is also the members of the church, declaring God's word, His word to each other, speaking to each other in songs, hymns, and spiritual songs. That comes from Colossians 3:16. Worship is an activity, indeed the activity par excellence of true human community. So, what I get out of that is that it's not just an experience of us and God. It's not a personal thing. It's a communal activity. It involves everyone, and yeah, I think we have a tendency to make it personal. Okay, so there are a lot of different parts of worship, I think. There are a lot of different ways that it can be expressed. I have a big list here. I should have made a PowerPoint so you guys could follow along with it, but I'll just go through them kind of slowly. We'll try to keep everyone on the same page as I am. So the first part of it is location. I think it's pretty obvious reading from the Bible that location is a big part of worship, more so in the Old Testament, but it has some part in it. And so that's one thing that I would like to think about during the next 6 months or year that I'm here. Just integrating whatever that means into the worship here, seeing what parts are going into it. The second is community. We already talked about that a little bit, but it's not just us and God. It's not It's not necessarily a horizontal thing, it's more, or it's not a vertical thing, it's more horizontal. It involves everyone here. The next one is love, and I think that before we can truly worship God, we need to realize the love that He has for us. So just bringing that into it, whether it's every week trying to let people know through a song or through the Apostles' Creed or something, just the love that God has for us. After that follows glory. Glory we give to God, and I think that has to come after love, because if you don't understand the love God has for you, how are you going to give Him glory for it? Next one is dedication or sacrifice. It's pretty self-explanatory. Sacrificing our lives, dedication of our lives. Act is the next one, so doing something to worship God, not just singing, but actually going out and doing something. We've talked about the bless that we have in play. Drama, that one I have no idea how I will do it, but definitely want to think about it because I think it's an important part. Symbol is a big one for me. We have these banners here. I never really talked to Aaron about them, but they act as symbols. And so symbols are something that I really want to think about and try to bring into worship. Word. So the spoken word of God is what we do every time Aaron preaches. That's part of worship as well, I think. The table, which we don't have up here today, but the communion table. I think that's also a big part of worship. And just thinking about that, processing through what it means, why we have it as a part of worship. There's two more. Music is one. And then the last is prayer. So just thinking about how I can bring prayer into worship every Sunday. So those are all the parts of worship that I found that I think are important, that I want to process through what it means to have all those part of every Sunday service. And those aren't necessarily important things that I'm going to go through a checklist every Sunday and make sure I have everything, but just to process through and to try it. So that was the first part. Second part, how it will be implemented here. We already have a worship team and seem to do pretty decent at sharing the time to lead you guys. But I want to open that up to more people and try to to either teach them how to play instruments or teach them how to sing or just give them the courage to do it if that's what they need. I think there's a lot of really talented people here, and whether they know it or not, maybe we can try to get some out of that. There's a thing online, since I'm young and tech savvy, and it's called, I can't remember what it's called. I'm young and tech savvy, but I have a bad memory. But there's a program online, and it's basically just like a schedule, so you can put a schedule up there, put the worship set up there, and put MP3s and the music up there. And everyone that's going to play that next Sunday, you give them a little password and they can log on. It's just a way to organize things and to lay it out for everyone. So that'll help with practice. I'm going to try to do a weekly practice before Sundays as well. And then through that, once you have a team, whether it's a few teams rotating or just one team of people moving through, that's where I want to focus on all those points that I talked about before. Where I try to bring everyone into that conversation, so it's not just me, because, like I said, it's a community thing, it's not just one person. So we have discussions about what that all means and how we can bring that into place with worship every Sunday. So that would be my vision for the worship ministry here.
Questions for me? We've had him here for the last couple of years, so you guys are a little more familiar with this space. Even though Alex has spent about 5 years, I guess, before he went to college. Yes.
How are you going to mix like contemporary music and hymns and whatnot?
Well, for everyone who's been here for a while, you've hopefully been able to see that I enjoy hymns, whether I've watched them or not. I try to keep them as close to the original as I can, but I really enjoy hymns. I think a lot of them have a lot more depth or symbolic language than a lot of the newer songs. So I want to keep a lot of hymns and do some newer ones as well. But like I did this morning, I really want to explain why we do the songs we do, what they mean to me, and hopefully you guys will resonate with that. Yeah, so it makes it both.
Yes.
Well, with Pastor not being here during the week, how will we coordinate his message with the music?
Well, phone calls and Skype, probably.
Phone call, Skype, and we are planning a weekly staff meeting. That could be video staff meeting, depending on when these guys can get together. And just maybe a few details that you guys might not know. Mickey is still a full-time student at Multnomah. And so this semester, he's going to be busy doing that. Alex has 2 classes, really just 1 class, and the other is just kind of an independent study. So he'll be in the office here. So I don't know yet. We'll work out the availability of these 2 to get together. Whenever they can get together, that's when I'll try and be here. If that's on the weekend, I'll be here physically. If it's during the week, then I'll Skype in, video in. We'll just spend some time together each week, making sure that we're on the same page. But we'll also do some advanced planning together. You guys know that I usually preach in series, and so we can project out what these messages and their themes will be and begin to work on music selection and programming in advance. And I know that's one of the things that Mickey has shared with me he wants to do, so that not just to help us organize it, but so that the other musicians get an advanced read on the music and begin to practice before they even come to practice and everything. So that's pretty much all we're doing. Just again, real quick, and I'll come right back here. He also mentioned, if you caught it, for the next 6 months to a year. The reason that's true for Mickey, if you weren't here last week, we explained it, but he graduates in December, and because he's a superstar student, can go anywhere in the world basically for graduate school. He's being on after December. He may be on his way to, I'm not sure where, for graduate school. So, pray, collude with God that he'll stay here. But so if he stays, then we'll get him up to the next year and then beyond, depending on our church funding and for him back. We love to keep these guys on, of course, for until God comes back. But we're going back. But anyway, so little details. Yes.
I was curious, what was the scripture you read in the beginning about the definition of worship? Is that what the scriptures? Or?
No, well, it came from Colossians 3:16, I think.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Awesome question. People ask me. Others, yes.
How would people get in touch with you if they wanted to get involved in the worship team?
Handwritten letters with money. Well, just letting someone know. I think, once we get those practices in place, then that'll be something like anyone can come to it, anyone can practice. And through that, hopefully, find out who wants to do it. But yeah, anyone, just let me or Aaron know, Aaron will let me know.
Sunday mornings, either one of us, yeah. And then we can try and communicate, email addresses and things like that, so you guys, if you're tech savvy.
As an example of that, Shirley came a couple weeks ago and said that she would like to play with us. So this week we met here during the week and had practice, and she came to play with us today. She was wonderful.
Awesome. Yeah. Anyone else? All right. Thank you so much, sir. So you're going to hear a little bit more from him a little bit later because he's going to come up and lead, of course, and I know he wants to share a little bit more when he does. And if you have other questions, you guys were here, so somebody else can ask. So, Alex, come on up. You guys know him. Some of you know Alex. It's been a while. This is my son. For those of you who are visiting, I know he's bigger than me, but that is my baby boy there. He's our youngest child. Alex graduated from high school a little over 4 years ago and went off to Warner Pacific. And he's wrapping up his degree there. While he was at Warner, he interned at New Hope. Most of you know where New Hope is on the freeway there on I-5, Blackman's Town Center. And then Youth Dynamics, and so that's where he's been for the last 4 years. And the timing of his availability to step right into this opportunity that we have. And so we've asked him to come on and help us build a youth group and children's ministry that will take us into the future. So, yes.
Sorry, one question. Are we going to be recording this for those weeks?
Yes, we are. We have video camera up here, so if you don't want to be on camera, just keep your back to your back. But otherwise, yeah, for the ladies that are gone, we promise we record this so they can see it there. So, all right, sir, you are green. Share with us your vision as you'd like to see.
So before I share with you guys my vision, I want to share a Bible verse that has kind of helped shape my vision during my time at Warner and just through my high school, my life. It's been one of the verses that has helped me. So in Matthew chapter 19, verses 13 and the following, then some children were brought to him so that he might lay hands on them and pray. But the disciples rebuked him. But Jesus said, leave the children alone and do not hinder them from coming to me, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these. So for me, I've had passion for kids and youth my whole life. I don't know why, I just have a gift with them, and so I've always enjoyed just being with them. And this verse helps my calling in life, just to show me that I need to not hinder them, but instead push them towards Christ and be a guide for them. And so I've enjoyed my time doing that in my life, and I will continue doing that as I keep on going and discover more about my calling. So, since it's helped shape my vision, I'm going to share with you guys my vision for youth. First, I just want to get a foundation started and with the community. Obviously, I want to get a good relationship with the youth just because I hope to be their leader, and I'm going to enjoy that to the fullest. It's going to be awesome. And for the parents, I will never pretend I know more about your kids than the parents do. I'll never pretend that. And so I will heavily rely on the parents to give me some advice about their kids, and I would love for them to be a part of my plans, my dreams, my visions, and for part of their youth dreams and visions. So I look forward to doing that as well. And I know some of you, but there's some, I have a friend that's involved in that. I'm already in contact with her, and I'm going to be meeting with her on Monday to discuss how I can get plugged into Alice Middle School, and through her, I'm hoping to also get connected to Dave Douglas, so that is already underway. So that's going to be happening on Monday, and I hope to figure out when I can get started getting involved in Alice and eventually in Dave Douglas. So that's already in the workings. And from there, I'm just going to continue looking for curriculum. I have a list of curriculum I already have. Some of it's from New Hope, who I've been working with for 4 years, and some that I just looked online and tried to find some things. I haven't decided yet because I haven't told you yet, much at all. So I want to get to know them better. I haven't seen a lot of them. I've got to know them for 4 years, so I want to make sure I pick the curriculum that is right for them.